Hey, how was the trip down to DC with the little man?
It was actually we rented a 10-foot long U-Haul. Uh,
Whoa,
Drove that sucker down, and it
that's tough
was.
to handle. By the way, do you pride yourself on being a guy that can handle a big, pull a
I,
trailer?
I thought you were going to say it's hard to handle, which would get us into the Black
Black
Crow.
Crows, Black Crows.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know what? It's probably the largest vehicle I've driven, but it handled quite well. So I was pleased. Drove down in the morning, got back by I believe 10:30 that night, and here we are.
Well, and where we've gone is to just a place of in extraordinary heights. The market's basically to the stratosphere, to the heavens, if I may.
Hmm.
And it's the question is technically, and there's a lot of different things that we could talk about these levels on the S&P. But there's some sense that this last umph was going to be that move by CTAs and some of the momentum players to pick up on the momentum of the last week or so and take it to this level that I'm not sure it can hold. But and I know you've been cautious on things.
Oh yeah.
I actually see this move today, and this really feels a little FOMO-y. I do think that we're definitely a bit overbought, but it's also clear to me that the trade that has been the banks, the industrials, so airlines, Boeing, but shippers, is something that there's still a lot left in the tank on that. And these are charts that look very different than the charts on the semiconductors and on the Nasdaq. So if we're getting some momentum back in terms of the reopening, and it's hard to believe this is happening while our country is going through such a painful time, and while we're fresh threats on China every single day, and we still don't have a vaccine, and let alone a treatment. But this is what happens when central banks go wild.
I think that's exactly right. Now it's Europe's getting in the picture as well. Germans. I mean, it's just central banks have gone wild, which is fine. And I said on the show tonight, would you rather be right or would you rather make money? And if a stock goes from 5 to 10, you've doubled your money, and the reasons why don't really matter. So
yeah,
I mean, you've made money. So we can
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Who's your favorite German rock and roll band?
Well, it's got to be the Scorpions, because it's only the Scorpions.
Where else do you go? And I was going to go from the Scorpions to like Der Kommissar. I mean, I don't.
Right.
I don't know. All right, let's keep going.
That was Luft. What, that Luftballon song?
Oh,
is
that's
that right?
Nena, 99
Right.
Luftballons.
So I will say that, look, the one place I have thought is value has been the banks, and the banks have traded actually decently over the last week and a half, and I think that can continue. But this move in the S&P is just mind-boggling when you talk about everything you've just brought up. I mean, the news flow. I mean, it doesn't get. It just gets worse. It's remarkable that the market doesn't care, and I will dare say that for a lot of people out there that are going through this on any number of different levels, that watch the stock market go higher every day. I mean, it's almost disrespectful, and I'm choosing to use that word.
Yeah, it's painful for a lot of folks that are out of work that don't really have a lot of money in the stock market, and if you think about the economy and the last 10 years of low to no interest rates, and we've referred to it as financial oppression. It's not been a place for savers, and it's not really been a place for folks that don't have money to put in the market, and that's a good part of the workforce. So it's we're obviously not poo-pooing that the market shouldn't do what it does, but I hear you. This is a pretty crazy time that the market's doing this. On Friday, we're going to get a payroll number. Today we had ADP private payroll numbers, which always precedes the government's non-farm payroll number. That's really the one that everybody follows. And today's ADP number, while awful in absolute terms, in relative terms to expectations of one that could have been more than 9 million jobs lost, was inside of 3 million jobs lost. So this is what the market is doing right now. And as someone that's been constructive, largely, and said that some of this pain trade could be higher, I'm feeling that we are getting to a place where the fundamentals just don't make a ton of sense.
No, no. But you know what? And you're right. But you mentioned heaven, and it just got me thinking. I know you probably feel the same way. So, what's your favorite? I mean, Stairway to Heaven, not with.
I knew where this was going. Yeah.
Is there a favorite heaven song for you?
Well, there's the heaven songs that I'm not terribly proud to admit that come up, like "Too Much Heaven" by the Bee Gees, or
Love that
even
song.
I actually have, yeah, "Nights on Broadway" is a great tune, dude. Like that Jive Talking, like that stuff is awesome. I'm not really the Saturday Night Fever, which of course, if you pull the Saturday Night Fever album, you'll find a band called Tavares,
Sure.
who has a song called "Heaven Is Missing an Angel." And you know, I know you had a pretty big disco game in the 70s, right?
No, I did not. But what I'll say about Tavares is Heaven Must Be Missing an Angel. What I think of immediately is Frank Tavares, which, you know, for the Yankees, he would be an afterthought. For the Mets, he's probably in their top 15 players of all time,
No,
which puts this thing in perspective.
just all right, just stop that. Now, what I remember as a Met fan, when we got the light hitting Frank Tavares
From the Bucks, I believe.
We acquired him from the Bucks. By the way, I think shortly thereafter, the Yanks acquired one Omar Moreno who was patrolling center field for the Buccos too. But I mean, you can't get excited about Frank Tavares playing up the middle for you. But that was one of the darkest periods in the Mets history, and he brought a little bit of I don't know, identification value. But like he was a 230 hitter. Who could, you know, had a couple of years where he stole 40 to 50 bags, pretty reliable piece of leather, could turn the double play. But he was no Knocking on Heaven's Door by Guns N' Roses, or Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton, or I think that's all I got.
That's probably it. But let me say this. You mentioned, we'll end it on this. I think one of the most overrated statistics in sports is the stolen base. I think the stolen base is complete horse hockey. So when the guys start telling me about, you know, he's going to steal 25 back, who cares? It's meaningless.
I got to tell
you. And by the way, Frank Tavares, slightly better than Felix Millan,
who really chalked up on the bat there. Totally take the other side of the stolen base. You know, small ball, Billy ball, you name it. I think it can change a speedster on the bases, change the pace of the game. And with that, I see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll change the pace tomorrow.
We'll change the pace tomorrow.